What if the way you've been saving money tax-free in the UK is about to change? And the worrying part is, you might not notice until it matters. From the 6th of April, 2027, the amount people under 65 can put into a cash ISA each year will fall from £20,000 to £12,000, while the overall ISA allowance remains £20,000. So if you regularly keep your money in cash savings, the rules you've relied on for years are changing. But don't panic. Because the biggest mistake you can make is hearing ISA reform and immediately moving your money without understanding what's actually changing. Here's what most people are getting wrong: the £12,000 figure does not mean you can only have £12,000 in an ISA. The overall £20,000 allowance is still there, but using the rest may require a different type of ISA. In the next few minutes, I'll explain what an ISA really is, what's changing, and what UK savers should be thinking about now. And stay until the end, because if you keep £20,000 in cash, the smartest move could be completely different from someone who only keeps £5,000. So, what's actually changing? Right now, someone under 65 can generally put up to £20,000 into a cash ISA during a tax year. But from the 6th of April, 2027, that cash ISA limit drops to £12,000 for most people under 65. And this is where the confusion starts. It does not mean your existing £20,000 suddenly becomes £12,000. It does not mean the money already sitting in your cash ISA is being taken away. The £20,000 overall ISA allowance is not disappearing. What's changing is how much of that allowance you can put into cash. So, for example, imagine you're 45, you don't want to invest your emergency savings, and you normally put £20,000 into a cash ISA every year. From the 6th of April, 2027, you may still be able to use the full £20,000 ISA allowance. But only £12,000 can go into a cash ISA if you're under 65. The remaining £8,000 could potentially be allocated to another eligible ISA type, such as a stocks and shares ISA, subject to the relevant ISA rules. The government is not forcing you to invest it, but it cannot go into a cash ISA once you've reached the £12,000 cash ISA limit. And that means one thing. Your old saving strategy may need a rethink. Especially if you prefer cash because you want your money to stay simple, familiar, and low risk. That's why the next question is even more important. Who actually needs to worry about this change? Now, who actually needs to pay attention? The simplest answer is not everyone. If you're 65 or over at the relevant point, the new £12,000 cash ISA restriction does not apply to you in the same way. But if you're under 65 and you regularly put more than £12,000 into cash ISAs each tax year, this change could directly affect how you save. And even if you don't currently save £20,000 a year, don't switch off. Because the real question isn't, do I have £20,000? It's, how much of my annual saving do I want to keep in cash? Maybe you save £15,000. Maybe £12,000. Maybe you're building up a large cash balance for a house, an emergency fund, or simply because you don't like taking investment risk. Cash isn't automatically a mistake. The important thing is understanding the new rule, then deciding what makes sense for your situation. The change could affect what you do with your future savings. And remember, this is about future contributions, not suddenly cutting the amount you already hold. So, before you panic, ask yourself one simple question. How much money do I expect to put into cash savings each year? Because that answer will determine whether this change is a minor adjustment or something you really need to prepare for. So, what should you actually do? First, don't panic. You don't need to suddenly move your money just because the rules are changing. Start by checking how much you normally put into a cash ISA each tax year. If it's comfortably below £12,000, this change may have little impact on you. But if you regularly save more than £12,000 in cash, now is the time to think ahead. Because the question isn't simply where the extra money goes, it's whether moving it somewhere else actually makes sense for you. You have a few things to consider. Could you keep your cash savings within the new limit? Would another type of ISA make sense for part of your money? Or do you simply need to change how you spread your savings across the year? And remember, don't confuse allowed with suitable. Just because you can use another type of ISA doesn't mean you should put money into investments you're not comfortable with. Your emergency fund, short-term goals, and need for easy access all matter. The biggest mistake would be waiting until April 2027 and then making a rushed decision. Instead, understand your numbers now. Because when the rules change, the people who have already thought about their options will have something very valuable: time. And that's the key point. This change doesn't mean you need to panic or make a dramatic move. It simply means you should understand how much you save, when you might need the money, and which option genuinely suits you. The earlier you check, the more choices you'll have, and the less likely you are to make a decision under pressure. If this helped make the new ISA rules clearer, share it with someone who keeps most of their savings in cash. And subscribe for straightforward updates when future money rule changes could affect you. But there's one mistake I really want you to avoid. Don't make a financial decision just because you're afraid of the new rules. That's exactly when people make bad choices. You hear, the cash ISA limit is falling, and suddenly you feel pressured to move money, open an investment account, or completely change your strategy. Don't. The goal isn't to beat the new rules. The goal is to make sure your money is in the right place for you. So before April 2027, ask yourself 3 simple questions. How much cash do I actually need? When will I need it? And am I comfortable taking investment risk with any of that money? Those 3 answers can tell you far more than a headline ever will. Because £12,000 might be more than enough for one saver, while another person may have a completely different situation. The important thing is to understand the change before you react to it. And that brings us to the biggest takeaway from this whole video. ISA reform doesn't mean you need to panic. It means you need a plan. If this helped you understand what the £12,000 change actually means, subscribe to the Wealth Code, because the goal here isn't to chase financial headlines. It's to understand the rules before they affect your money. And tell me below, are you mainly a cash saver, or are you already using investments? So now you know what's changing. The £20,000 ISA allowance isn't disappearing. But from the 6th of April, 2027, most people under 65 will have a £12,000 limit on new cash ISA contributions. And that means the right move isn't to panic. It's to understand your own savings before the rules change. So, check how much you currently keep in cash, how much you save each year, and what that money is actually for. Because the people who prepare early will have more choices, while those who wait until the last minute may feel pressured into decisions they don't fully understand. Don't let a new rule make you make an old mistake. If this helped you understand what the £12,000 change actually means, subscribe to the Wealth Code. We don't chase financial headlines, we help you understand the rules before they affect your money. And tell me below, are you mainly a cash saver, or are you already using investments? And remember, understand the rules. Then make your money work for you.